We are live. History has been made. And no, I'm not talking about the first team in NFL history to not record an interception for a full season. No, that's not the type of history I'm talking about. Oh, I'm also not talking about the worst point differential in December in the history of the NFL. No, I'm talking about the history I'm talking about tonight is the history of Take Flight Talk being live on YouTube. James Rudy right here. We got Abs Ranch right here. Can't wait to hear what she has to say. And of course, NY Jets, come on now. Michael K in the building. Got some takes of his own. The X's and O's. And yeah, I guess how are we feeling? This is my third talking to of the day about everything New York Jets. So I will pass it real quick to my guy Michael K. Talk to me. How are you feeling about the Jets and that guy in charge?
Oh, I remember it was probably one of my worst takes, but we talked about it at the Dolphins game where I was like, Glenn actually has a chance to maybe, catch some hope of the fan base, and he just completely tanked it. Everything that any glimpse of hope, in my opinion, that we had was just straight out the door. Like, I wanted to be an Aaron Glenn guy because of the whole story of him, playing for the Jets. Our fan base deserves better. He clearly sees that. I was like, it's one of those fairy tale stories, but there is no ever fairy tale story with the Jets, so I should have known better. But I'm completely off the ship. I don't think he should come back next year. Knowing the Jets, I guarantee we're going to go out next week and win and probably drop to the sixth or seventh pick, which is just going to infuriate me. And then we're going to have to see some stupid locker room speech about Glenn getting the team to buy in. So I'm like mentally there, prepared for whatever's going to come there. But personally, I think Glenn needs to get out. And as much as I hate to say it, we got to start from scratch because I do not. My biggest fear is watching him get to take in a rookie quarterback who's supposed to change our whole franchise around because he handpicked Justin Fields. And even though I had some hope that Fields might do something good, he handpicked Fields, and we gave him $20 million a year to go look like a blind mouse out there. Like there's no justifying that. And if you tell me that he's magically just gonna, in the matter of 8 months, develop how to analyze a quarterback, I can't believe you. There's no facts to back that up. So I'm completely off the ship. That's my little rant for now, but I'm off the Aaron Glenn ship.
I know you and Wudi pretty much feel the same way. um,
Osama Glenn Laden. That's all I gotta say.
I saw that earlier and I was like, bro, you're the most creative with them hashtags sometimes. That is so funny. Well, if you can't tell, I am like physically unwell. My allergies have me down bad. And of course, I'm mentally unwell because the New York Jets are just god awful, like we are every single season, like we have been the last 15 years. I have a little bit of a different opinion than you two do in terms of Aaron Glenn. Not saying I don't agree with you though. I just have a little bit more of like mixed emotions regarding the whole thing. You guys both pointed out like over the, we're in a group chat, you know what I mean? Pointed out like excellent facts. I know how much Woody Johnson paid Aaron Glenn to be here. And so I think that alone automatically like saves his job, to be honest. I don't think he's going to let all that money walk on out the door. And then also too, the one thing that I always keep thinking about is Aaron Glenn is one of our guys. I think it is such a bad look to hire him, give him 1 year, and then give him the boot right after. And again, this job is not enticing to a lot of people. And so to do that to someone who's experienced this organization, like single-handedly has been in that locker room before, and then again, to not give them an opportunity. I mean, it's not like we came into this season. I don't think we had high hopes coming into the season. It's gone exactly how, not as bad as I thought it would be, but I still thought it was going to be a bad season. I mean, 7 wins, we're at 3. Big whoop. It's not that much more of a difference for me. We're 2 less than last year. But I'm going off on a little bit of a rant. But I'll get back on track here. I know why fans are upset. You know what I mean? And Aaron Glenn, to me, he's made several mistakes Mykal, you pointed out one of them, bringing in Justin Fields, especially with no competition, just handing him the job. Didn't even make him compete. And so that's one mistake. We've seen him make mistakes throughout the course of the season, a lot of times in course of time management. The 2-minute drills were an issue leading into halftime, not going for it right before the half, and just basically like not wanting to give the team the other ball. I feel like he's corrected some of those issues. Maybe not enough, but at the end of the day, all of this frustration, all of this comes from a place of frustration. I mean, unfortunately, whether he likes it or not, it was 15 years he inherited 14 years without the playoffs when he immediately came into the role. And even though he may have had nothing to do with that, that is what was served on your plate. And it's very clear that he's in over his head. Again, first-time head coach, which I did not want, I shall point out. But I believe pretty much any head coach would be in over their head at this point with the Jets. We are just not like any other organization. And I'm so tired of seeing us being compared to like the Detroit Lions or some of these other teams. I know, Wudi, you pointed out, the Gerard Mayo situation with the Patriots. We are just not those organizations. We are not on the same level. We are like 10 levels lower. And yeah, it's just, there's really nothing to say. As far as the game on coming up against the Bills, I wouldn't be surprised if we win. I don't think we will, to be honest. And honestly, we kind of got screwed in the draft with the Raiders fully tanking and looking as god-awful as they do. And so we'll get into that. But Wudi, I want to pass it to you in case people haven't heard you rant about this. I know you've done it multiple times today. I know you were on with Boy Green earlier. I caught some of that, but let the people know how you feel.
I would say the balance of it, like you said, Abby, is that the 14 years, it's not Aaron Glenn's fault. He was not here, through all the different regimes. But that does not mean that, 14 years into it, when we make a hire, we're just going to say, all right, well, the first 3 years don't matter. And Mykal has done such a fantastic job of highlighting the first the new coaching hires, and literally 3 of them won their division. It's not like, like they had a decent season. They 7-10. We see it. No, they won their division. Like they are the cream of the crop. And how many wins against the division does Aaron Glenn even have? He has 0. 0. There it is. Throw it up. Throw it up. O's in the sky. Come on now. So that's the thing with me is that, we keep preaching patience, but you look around the league. But I guess that's to your point. I'd be like, that's them, and we're 10 levels below. But even so, when you just look at just a Jets silo, right? This dude is putting up one of the worst seasons in New York Jets history. New York Jets history. The only 2 coaches to lose 14 games, Rich Kotite, who has been the consistent answer for who is the worst coach in New York Jets history, Adam Gase, who has been like the most popular, most recent answer, and now Aaron Glenn, like the only team to never catch an interception the whole season. No team had even done it for 14 games. That was the record. Now we've extended that to a full season. And like that's where I'm getting lost. Is like this isn't, growing pains or trying to figure stuff out. This is historical ineptitude. Historical ineptitude. And that's why it's getting a hysterical reaction from me. Because after 14 years, we got to be done with this. And I saw a post, and I did bring it up on Boy Green, the show of Boy Green today. I'll bring it up again just because it's kind of crazy to see, the coaches that went one and done the last 5 years. Some of them had better records than Aaron Glenn, and they got fired, and the team turned around and went on to great things. My God, shout out to Rory Garvin in the building. He's a fraud. He is a fraud. He don't even know what he's saying from one week to the next. I'm trying to pull up the stat. But the bottom line is I'm all for giving people, chance to figure stuff out. But you got to show me something. And that's what Mykal was saying, was that, going into the Dolphins game, yeah, I was seeing better clock management. I was seeing, some things. But since then, the worst December in the history of the NFL, no one, not even a Jets team, no one, Gerard Mayo, 4-13. Antonio Pierce, 4-13. Nathaniel Hackett, 4-11. Didn't even get to finish the season. And he had 4 wins. Okay, now we're talking about Aaron Glenn, 3 and whatever. And, and none of these teams have a 14-year playoff drought. They're just, on it enough to be like, all right, we need a change. And that's just what kills me is that, we're going to have to deal with Aaron Glenn. And Abby, I'm going to pass this back to you. Since your team Aaron Glenn, AG.
Don't say that. I said I'm conflicted. I'll gladly stand on that, but I'm not fully team AG either. You know what I mean?
No. I'm kidding. But what would a successful year 2 look like? Okay, boom, this happened. Year 2, all right, let's give Aaron Glenn year 3. What would that look like to you?
I mean, in terms of let's start with just the defense in general, having some turnovers, having some playmakers. At this point, my expectations are so low that at this point, I just want to be competitive with our own freaking division. Stop getting blown out. We should not be 0-6 against all of these teams. Miami is not that good. I get the Patriots and the Bills, but the Bills have shown time and time again that they are a beatable team. And had we had a better roster, I do believe we would have beat them. But again, I want to be competitive in our own division. And I just want to be competitive in games. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. My expectations are so very low. I'm not saying we need to have a quarterback with so-and-so stats. We need to have, a bright spot this year was Breece Hall rushing for 1,000 yards. I'm like, I'll take that. I think one of you guys had pointed out in our little wish list, maybe Garrett Wilson having 1,500 yards. That would be a good step in the right direction. At least having it come down and playing meaningful games in December, not having this type of December, which again has been one of the worst Decembers. And I'm telling you right now, I cannot wait to get this season over with. This has honestly been, I thought last year broke me really bad. This year, exceeded my expectations as far as I didn't think I could get any lower. And this year has just been one of the most disappointing years in a very, very long time. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Again, bare minimum sort of expectations. I think the biggest thing is the AFC East. Bro, you faced these teams twice every single effing year. I don't understand how it's a complete and utter blowout. Drake May throwing for 5 touchdowns was insane. And he's obviously right now the clear MVP for the NFL. That's a whole different story. But Mykal, do you agree? Are your expectations that low, or do you have more specific ones?
Well, the thing with me was we know as Jet fans, expectations, you got to keep them low, because I was so in over my head when we got Rodgers, and I was making bets that we were going to make the Super Bowl. I was doing my own thing. I genuinely thought we had it, top 3 defense, all that, right? And then, boom, football gods, Rodgers tears his Achilles, right? So my expectations were obviously low, but knowing the coach that Aaron Glenn was, not even talking head coach, just the defensive coordinator, and the mentality that Lions defense played with, they had I think they were with the 49ers, the most top 2 injured teams last year on defense. And the Lions still found a way on defense to make it through. So to me, that is a testament to your coach. So I was pretty confident that no matter what our roster looked like this year, Glenn would at least have the guys out there ready to play football. And the fact that, I don't know if you guys saw the press conference where they asked him, like, what game has your team played the brand of football you're establishing? And he said he had the audacity to say the Jaguars game when we came back and lost 48-20. Like, the fact that that's your brand of football and you are confidently saying that as a coach, like, you are clearly, like, there's a disconnect out there. Like, our team, I understand we have practice squad players. Like, I see it, but we're not the only team in the NFL that has that. Go look at the 49ers. Like, I know they have star at, like, they got CMC. I understand it, but they are the most injured team damn near every year, and they find a way to go out there and compete every single game. And they're a competitive team all the way. You could say they're a contender right now, and they look at all the injuries they have. Like, it comes down to coaching at the end of the day, and I just don't think, like, Glenn says one thing, and then we're doing the complete opposite. Like, I love the stuff he preaches. Trust me, like, limit the penalties. I want to play with physicality, aggression, like all these things. Like, that's amazing to preach. But when you're just preaching it, and you can tell after games, these Jet players are not bought in. Like, that Jermaine Johnson interview was the first time I feel like Jermaine Johnson was caught up. Breece Hall has been crashed out all year, which I completely get. I mean, he's the only one out there doing anything. We don't deserve him at this point. Like, that's the way I fully feel. Brady Cook, I understand he's an undrafted free agent, but you have 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions. Like, as a coach, when I understand we're taking, but when you put that product out there every week, and it was the same thing when we kept rolling Fields out there after throwing for 50 yards. Like, I can throw with 50 yards with my hands behind my back. Like, when you roll that out every week, you are showing your team that you do not care about winning. And these Jet players, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, they've been through that regime where we don't win. And that gets so fat, like, so tiring, so fast. And I think it's slowly taking away at the team. And, like, I do think this team needs a complete shakeup. Like, I completely get it. We gave away Sauce. We gave away Quentin Williams. But someone like Breece Hall, you can't just let walk, in my opinion, because it's not that easy to replace a running back. Like, you look around the league, that's not another problem the Jets should need to worry about. But now it's in the back of my head that I don't even think he wants to come back if we offer him that extension. And I don't blame him, because some of the guys like Harrison Phillips and Jeremy Rucker are, like, fully in on Glenn, like the Glenn train. Like, they said they would, die for him, go to war for him. Like, I love that, right? Those are only 2 players, though. I do not see that with anyone else. And that's not a good thing. I understand it sucks when you're this bad, right? We are horrible, worst December. You could just keep throwing the stats at us. But look around the league. Raiders gone. The Raiders should get penalized for publicly, doing this on purpose, clearly. Like, they want to lose. They're publicly tanking at this point. But the Saints are on a 4-game win streak, and they're playing motivated football. Everyone was clowning that Tyler Show dude at the beginning of the draft, being like, that's a nobody. He's not going to do anything. He might win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like, they're playing motivated football for their coach. That is what their coach got to do. You look at the Falcons. The Falcons are eliminated from the playoffs. They went out there and smacked the Rams. I know they almost choked, but they went out there, played motivated football, and smacked the Rams. Like, just because you're eliminated from the football, you're eliminated from the playoffs, you have to show things for your fan base. You have to show you're playing for your coach. It's like when you look at the Jets, and I'm not going to fully blame Glenn here, because this is like a trend with the Jets, just shows you how broken our organization is these dudes, like, you're questioning, like, what are you playing for at the end of the day? Like, I know, like, Breece Hall talked about it a lot, and Jermaine Johnson, like, you got to go play for pride. But I never see it with the Jet players. Like, it doesn't look like they're playing for the name on the back of their jersey. Like, they don't look like they're playing with pride. So I do personally, I'm not going to put it all on Glenn, but I think a lot of it shows up, and everyone could use the first-year coach, thing. But, yeah, exactly. Jets quitting their coach, 100%. That's what I'm saying. So you can't use that excuse of first-year head coach, and I just think it's so evident around the league. You look at teams like I was telling you guys in the group chat, look at the Bears. Bear fans did not expect them to win the division this year, and they went out there and completely – no one thought the Jags were going to be legit this year. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is playing like a top 12 quarterback. Like, if you pair the right coach with these young stars, like, they have a chance to grow into stars, it's right in front of us. We see it all around the league, and it's like, until the Jets realize that is out there, and we just keep sitting in this puddle of, doubt and lies where it's like, well, if we fire Glenn, who are we going to hire? Yeah, that's a great argument, but also if you keep Glenn and we lose the first 3 games next year and you fire him, now you have a rookie quarterback with a new coach and play caller in the 4th game of the year. Like, that should be a bigger fear than finding an offensive-minded head coach next year. Like, I think that outweighs the offensive-minded head coach way more. So I know I just went on like a huge spill. I'll pass it off to you, Abby, or Woody, whoever wants to take over, but that's all I got to say for now about Glenn.
It's okay. Let it out, man. Let it out. It's a tough time. It's a rough time. And this dude, Osama bin Laden, he hasn't made things easier. I just like another thing that I'll say, and then we can move on. Is that you highlighted like another like serious issue. If you're trying to believe, because I'm trying to believe, like no one wants to just be miserable the whole time and just be like, oh, this team's like, no, I want to root for my team. I want to, who want to fly like with the, like I'm trying to be on there. I'm trying to, but like you said it before, like this, he don't even believe in himself. How am I supposed to believe in somebody that doesn't believe in himself? They asked him, "Are you about to bench Justin Fields?" He said, "How can you ask that? That's my guy. My guy. How can you ask that?" 2 quarters later, like not even a game. 2 quarters later, he benched Justin Fields. Like he has no idea what he's doing. It is, and I know that the quote that's currently on my IG about the Dan Campbell thing. It doesn't actually explain what I was talking about. Dan Campbell won 3 games in December. 3 games in December. They were fighting. Meanwhile, the Jets have the largest point differential in NFL history, like negative. I don't even want to say because it's gonna make me upset. So, they were fighting to the end. There was no fight in this team. Aaron Glenn struggled as a defensive coordinator, and Dan Campbell said, "No, I have a plan." So he's gonna stay part of the plan. AG is like, "I have a plan." But you know what, Steve? You know what? You out. And like I was saying to fire Steve, like I didn't like Steve Wilkes, all season. But the point that AG like doesn't even have a plan that he's sticking to, now he playing games like, yo, we're gonna win games now. And now all of a sudden he's like, oh well, I ain't mean that they was gonna be proud of the team this year. It's not an instant coffee league. All of that flip flopping. Like, if he don't believe in himself, how can we believe in him? That's like trying to be the nicest possible because we've already heard me go scorched earth and all that stuff. The nicest way, like, come on, like if he was in front of me right now, come on, Aaron. Like, how can I believe in you when you don't believe in yourself? Like, get me Mike McCarthy, get me you guys saw the post today with Harbaugh or Tomlin. Obviously, those are kind of fantasy where people are like, oh, they're not going to come. Is the Jets situation? And actually, let's just go around real quick. Like, is the Jets situation really that bad? Like, 6 picks or 5 picks in the next 2 years, right? You have a young offensive line who is going to protect whoever you bring, young or old, behind that offensive line. Of course, you have to do a lot of work on defense. But you have, top 5 money in the NFL, the most picks in the NFL, and a young offensive line. Is that a terrible place to be? Like, why? I don't understand why they're acting like they're screwed. Abby, hit me with that.
One thing about the O-line really quickly is I'm so sick and tired of people criticizing this O-line and saying it needs to be like rebuilt. I don't know what people are watching, but it like actually aggravates me. That's the one positive aspect about this team. If you had to really look at like pieces, it's a young offensive line. They're trying to gel together. You have a lot of, again, youngsters on there, and you've also had them play behind 3 different effing quarterbacks. At the end of the day, stop blaming the O-line for everything. And in terms of like, okay, Wudi, I'll say right now, like, if we were going to bring in somebody, right now is the ideal time to bring in somebody because you're gonna draft all of these people. So I'm not saying I disagree with that whatsoever. And Mykal, you pointed to it before. I don't want if you're gonna fire Aaron Glenn 3 games into next season, then you might as well not have him this year either because it is detrimental to the development of a quarterback if you do that. I'll be honest, Wudi, I know you pointed out the capital and some of the pieces that we have, but I don't think it's that enticing to come here, to be honest. I think teams will, I think coaches like like I'm not saying they have nothing to absolutely work with, but the culture here just sucks. It just sucks. And the fans, like right now, I'm telling you, the fans right now, they suck too. I mean, we're just all we're aggravated, and I just can't imagine even if we got some, with a brand new head coach, and let's say we had 6 wins next year, I'm not sure that would make the fans that much more happy. But it's not a complete and utter disaster, but I mean, we're a step above the Raiders. I'll say that. I think the Raiders are more of a complete mess. We're a step above the Raiders. That's why I will leave that. Mykal, go ahead.
See, I think, I think that it's like Woody Johnson is like a cancer that's hanging over the team. Like when you talk about is the Jets' job ever enticing? Like I think until Woody Johnson gets his name off the team, and like I look at Woody Johnson as a cancer, and I look at MetLife Stadium as a cancer. Like those two things, when you bring up the Jets football, like those get completely destroyed right away. So I think those two are always in the back of the head. I mean, you saw the report cards. Woody is always in the headlines, and it's not for good things. So that part is true. But I think the counterpart of it is, like Woody was saying, we do have one of the best scenarios you can be in as a head coach if you want to do, for example, what the Bears just did. For example, with the Jags, if you want to take the Patriots, if you want to take a losing team, a losing culture, and go win your division next year, we have the assets and the pieces in front of you to build that culture if you are the right head coach. So I don't think, even with Woody and all these things and, the culture, I don't think it's, a bad job to look at. But I will say Aaron Glenn gets fired, which I think he should. It definitely adds pressure to whoever wants to come to New York, because it is showing you, well, even as an ex-Jet, we fired him after 1 year, but it also comes down to the thing where it's a winning league. So it's not like at the end of the day we're blackmailing Aaron Glenn. He went out, like the Jets we're watching is the product he's putting on the field. So when you have the worst, and my opinion, like what he was saying, Dan Campbell won 3 games in December. If you're a losing team, the Saints are on a 4-game winning streak. The Saints were getting clowned less than a month ago. Like, when you are a losing team, you want to watch, like I talked about at the beginning of the year, I wanted to break Aaron Glenn's coaching into 2 different seasons. The first half of the season and the second. Like, are we trending in the right direction? He's trending in the wrong direction, and that's horrible for a losing team. And like the Raiders, like I said, own box. I'm not even talking about the Raiders. But the other teams, right? Like, I keep bringing up the Saints. If you're a Saints fan, I'd be pumped right now. I'm like, damn, like we got hope next year. Like, this could be a 8, 9, 10 win team. When like you're as a Jet fan, I'm like, what? Like, where do we go from here? Because I don't want to bring Glenn back, because in my opinion, he hasn't done anything to show it. But we have, like, I look at that as like a football like geek, and I'm like how, like I'm thinking in my head, how can you mess that up? But like I know the Jets, and I've seen them mess up like a lower version of this, so I'm not gonna like get too excited for it. But we are predicted to have, top 5 money for 26 and 2027, and we have the most picks in the next 2 years. And those first round picks mean a lot more than people think. So you have, like we said, the pot of gold. You have the ability right now to do anything. I keep seeing Adam Schefter. They went on today with Dan Orlowski that a big franchise name is going to get traded. And they keep saying that in the comments. They're like, a big franchise name is going to get traded this offseason. Like, the Jets have the assets and the pieces to go get that big franchise name, whoever that is. I keep seeing rumors about Lamar might be going. Like, who knows if the Ravens lose and Harbaugh goes, Lamar could be out of there. With Joe Burrow's mental, even with the Bengals missing the playoff, who knows like where he stands. There's so many what ifs, but I do think if you're an offensive minded head coach, like we talked about, and say Glenn does get fired, I would jump on the Jets job. I understand there's a lot of pressure in New York, Woody Johnson, all this stuff, but it's also a thing you got to take on yourself as a coach. If you're coming into our situation as a new coach and you have all these first-round picks, you have all this money, and you have some good talent on your team already, that should be you're going into that year, you thinking at least 7, 8 wins. Like, that's the bare minimum. And the thing, this is my last thing, because I heard you talk about it with the Aaron Glenn, like, backtracking on what he says. I like to think about, like, the introduction press conferences. And you look at Aaron Glenn, you look at Ben Johnson. They came from the same product. They came from Dan Campbell. They basically both said the same thing in their press conferences. Ben Johnson was talking about how they're going to win the division. He was so excited to play LaFleur because he was not going to let the Packers beat them. And you look at Glenn. Glenn was saying he was ready to change the Jets. He's done with the fans hurting, all this. And then you go look at the opposites of what those coaches put on the field. Ben Johnson is out here. They won the division, and the games they lost were close. I mean, they lost to the Lions by 30. That was the one game that was horrible. They competed in every game, and they won the division, and he stood on everything he said, and he put it out there on the field. You got Glenn, and it's like, as a fan base, the reason that us fans might seem maybe over the top now is because, like you said, this is a 15-year playoff drought. So, no, at the end of the day, I'm not blaming Glenn for being in a 15-year playoff drought, but it's that pressure you take on as a coach. You can't come to our team and then completely, like, it's not the idea of tanking. It's the way, like, we are losing so bad. Like, there is nothing to be excited about. And then go up there and tell us to be patient. You can't tell a fan who's been 15 years of a drought. Like, we haven't had a meaningful December game in 15 years. Like, 2015 was the last year I felt anything with the Jets, and I completely mean that. And we blew it. I thought 2015 was the year, and we blew it. Like, that's 10 years. And it's like, you can't tell us to be patient at this point because you came up there. It's different as a press conference. If you came up there and you were honest, and I know like coaches we want to win. But if you were honest, yeah, we don't know where the direction's going, but I guarantee I'll give it my all this stuff. And then you see steps of it. You start 0-3, 0-4, but then you start winning. 7-point game here. I'm competing with the Dolphins. I kept it here close with the Patriots. There's something to hang your head on. Right now, there's nothing to hang our head on. And that's why it's so hard to be like I like AG as I think he's a good dude. Like you could tell, like some players respect him, obviously. I think he has the mentality, but it's not showing up on the field. So what makes fans and people think magically next season he's just going to change himself as a coach? Just because you have the draft picks and the money, that doesn't change you as a coach. Like your coaching patterns stay the same. So that's my biggest concern. But in terms of our coaching, the opportunity, if Glenn does get fired, I do think the Jets could be a very good hotspot because that coach gets to handpick his quarterback and then has the money and the picks to build whatever he wants around that quarterback. And like you said, that's a young top 10 O-line in my opinion. They do not deserve the hate they're getting this year. It's because of the quarterbacks in my opinion. So like I said, I think as a new coach, especially if you're an offensive-minded head coach, I do think the Jets' job is pretty intriguing. But, we'll see what happens. What do you think, Woody?
I think it's a fantastic – I really think it's – I mean, you got to keep saying the Raiders in their own box, and we can leave them there. But, I would say this is a more intriguing spot than the Titans. The Titans, you're tied to Cam Ward, and you don't have that pick. And I feel like there's a lot of questions. Cam doesn't even have a number one down there. Calvin Ridley, Ridley, believe it or not, I don't believe it right now. He kind of sunk my fantasy team. So they have a lot of questions. They don't have the assets, and your quarterback has been chosen. And you pretty much have to keep him. He was chosen last year, first overall. The only vacancy that I would say even rivals ours is the Giants. And again, you're tied to you don't have a choice. That's Jackson Dart, but at least, Dart has some skills. Scat has some skills. They have all that swag. He did most of that without Malik Neighbors. They actually have a pretty good team. And then that defensive line, is off the paper. It's not that, difficult to see the Giants being competitive with a good coach. And that's where I would say, okay, they're better than us. But even better than comparing the Jets and the Giants, you have a blank slate at trying to get a QB, which you wouldn't have, right? You're married to Jackson Dart. Offensive line, I do think I would put the Jets above the Titans, the Giants, and the Raiders. I wouldn't say weapons because Neighbors, Wandell, that's a pretty, we got Garrett. I love AD. We don't know what's happening there, but I think it's close. I guess that's my point. I think it's close. And, do we really just want to waste another year on the experiment? That was the point of my Instagram post. If you're like Harbaugh, Tomlin, and here's another thing. With all that money that we talking about, Tomlin can bring in free agents. John Harbaugh can bring in free agents. AG, AG, we weren't impressed last year. We thought maybe we would get some, Detroit guys, who were familiar with AG. and who was that? Who was it? Like even Salah, who gets way too much disrespect from this fan base, he consists every year. He brought in someone new, like, yo, this is my guy, DJ Reed. I was like, oh, okay, he's pretty short. Was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different guys, he had a relationship with, and so many people came in and did phenomenal work for us. AG, like that's another thing I think that's worth considering is we got all this money. Who's gonna come? Who wanna fly with these jets? With these AG jets? Like I don't know if he's gonna be able to recruit people. But if you bring in Tomlin, Harbaugh, I'll throw Mike McCarthy's fat ass in there. Mike McCarthy, they are gonna be recruiting people like and they're gonna want to play for an established coach in this situation. So that's what I'm big on right now. Of course, if none of those people become available, or McCarthy, he currently is available, but right now he's tied to the Titans and the Giants. Giants would be a fantastic fit. Him and Dart, like, damn. Like I was thinking about that the other day. Like, damn, they onto something. The Jets, like, I just, can we steal Cliff Kingsbury? I need something. But as we all know, right? What the highest probability is Aaron Glenn is a Jets coach, so we just have to deal with that. So we can talk about the Bills. I know we've already talked about them. I don't even this season, is a wash.
I'm shocked I'm still watching.
But I don't even know. Like, my wife last week, she was like, "Yo, you like gonna put yourself through this?" I was like, there's only 2 more games. Like, I waited all year, so I might as well just watch this shit. But yeah, it's brutal. But let me ask you, do you guys even care whether Brady Cook or Hendon Hooker gets a start?
No, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, at this point, I'm full tank, so I would start Brady Cook because I don't think he could do anything. So, no disrespect to him, he's an undrafted free agent. I'm not expecting a lot. I actually do think Hendon Hooker has a chance to be maybe a good backup in the league because he has the arm strength. But there's no reason to run out Hendon Hooker there for one game. And then we watch a random masterclass where he goes for like 280, and it's like, well, what's the point of that? Like, if you're embracing the tank at this point, I don't care if the Bills run backups out there. Then we need to put our practice squad in there. Like, I'm being honest. This you cannot win this game. I understand a couple weeks ago I was against the tank, but Glenn completely shut down my hopes on that. So don't go back on that now, because going from the 2nd or 3rd pick to the 6th or 7th in this draft is huge. And
huge.
I honestly do think we need almost every pick we have with how godly horrible this defense is. I think every pick is crucial. So I don't think dropping three picks like that, because then you're gonna have to try to trade up for a quarterback and you have to give up assets. And that's the one thing I'm against right now. Is I know we might have to give up something, but I'm like, if you move down 3 or 4 picks, then it's the idea of moving, giving up a couple more. And like I said, this defense is the worst I've seen. I'm being so honest. I don't care who you put at defensive coordinator. Half these dudes need to get cut. I don't care if they go to the CFL, the XFL. They do not deserve to play NFL football. So that's my little rant. But I need at least 7 new guys on defense. At least 7 new guys.
No, that was, if you want to talk about the Christmas list. I think I put it like 5 on there. So we definitely on the same page there. Let's just talk about that real quick about the draft pick. I personally believe, assuming that Brady Cook starts, we should have the 3rd overall pick. I don't think the Giants are going to beat the Cowboys. I think they, new coach, Shoddy, and the players they got, I think they're just going to, spank the Giants. They want to go out on a win and, carry that momentum into next year with the new coach. So I'm thinking the Jets are going to pick 3rd. We know the Giants are almost certainly not going to get a QB. The Raiders almost certainly are. But now it's like conflicting reports about, is Dante, who hasn't even declared for the draft, but they say, is he going first? Is Fernando going first? And that would that actually is almost exactly what happened 7 years ago in 2018. It was the Browns, number one. We knew they was taking a QB, and then the Giants. We didn't know. Eli was still around, and then it was the Jets who was clearly going to take. So it's kind of a very similar situation, where it might be QB, Giants picking somebody, and then the Jets picking up who they didn't, who didn't get drafted first. Is that the ideal situation for you? You guys are okay with the scrap of Dante or Fernando, or are you guys like no? It needs to be Fernando. It needs to be Dante, or we got to pivot or something like that.
I mean, at this point, you have to take a QB. They made the biggest mistake of not taking a QB like last year. And I know we're in a couple of different chats, but I was even pissed off. They were talking about Shedeur Sanders in there. And I'm like, I don't know why when he fell as low as he did, why we didn't bother to draft him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you have to take a QB no matter what. Dante Moore, the only thing is he's just super young. That's the only thing. I don't have a preference over either of them. I like Fernando. Obviously, I think I lean more towards Fernando. I think a lot of people do. But I would not mind Dante Moore one bit. But again, it's also going to depend on the coach at the same time. There's just so many different what ifs at this point. Now, if the Jets win and they fall lower, at that point, the QB probably won't fall to us. So at that point, I'm like, go all defense. You know what I mean? Start with the defensive guy and then maybe pick up a wide receiver, or go 2 defensive guys, get a wide receiver in the second round, something like that. But I just think there's no way in hell you don't take a QB with that third pick, honestly. I think you have to just swing your shot. Ultimately, it's a crapshoot no matter what. But again, I lean more towards Fernando Mendoza. It's funny. Are you guys 100% sold that the Raiders are going to take a quarterback? I was talking with my family, and they don't think they will necessarily because of how much money is tied to Geno Smith.
Yeah, I don't. The reason I think the Raiders situation is tricky is because I keep seeing reports that they might be one and done with Pete Carroll, and I know Geno's obviously a veteran in the league, so there is a chance that whoever does. It's so many what ifs. It's the same situation with the Jets. What if this? What if that? What if they bring in this? But say the Raiders do let Pete Carroll go and he's one and done, and they bring in a new coach. There's a chance that coach might want to keep Geno and build around him. I know Geno hasn't had the best year, but he still has shown flashes, right? Yeah, he's been god awful recently, but a new coach might want to be able to work with that, especially with how much, like you said, how much money they tied to him. So I don't think it's guaranteed that they take a quarterback, but I've been pretty heavy recently on the Dante Moore train. I think Mendoza, obviously, I think he's a great quarterback. I think he'll be great for a franchise. But if I were to pick if I had the number 1 pick, I think as of tomorrow, I would take Moore over Mendoza. And that's just my personal preference of what I've seen. And like you said, Moore is young. That could be a little knock on him. But when I watch Moore versus Mendoza, especially for a team like the Jets, and especially the O-line, I kind of look at the quarterback like the O-line situation. I think the way Dante Moore incorporates his legs, which, the last we've seen was Zach Wilson. I said the same thing about Zach Wilson. I really like that aspect of his game. I don't think personally the Jets and him used it to their advantage. So that is something, like you said, it does matter with the coach. It does matter with the offensive coordinator. But when I watch Dante Moore, that is someone that I think would actually thrive, especially with someone I think of him with Tanner Engström. I think Tanner Engström, if you pair him with someone like Dante Moore and the weapons we have, I honestly don't think that's a bad, that's a good duo in my opinion. Now, there's a lot of what ifs, but I'm not going to say Mendoza's a bad pick. I wouldn't be mad if we got Mendoza, but I've kind of been on the Moore train recently, and it is kind of crazy. Like Wudi was saying, he hasn't even declared yet. There's a good chance that Moore comes back, but I did see that Oregon's backup, he was I think he was a redshirt sophomore. He hit the transfer portal, which is making everyone think that Dante Moore might come back. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I am really hoping Moore declares, because it would be a really tough situation for the Jets if it's just Mendoza out there, and then you're stuck in the spot where it's okay, do we take Ty Simpson late And then it's like, okay, is that a reach? Are we getting a bridge quarterback? Are we trading for an established one? Like, I think more needs to declare for the draft for the Jets to be in the best spot.
That's a fact. That I didn't even think about. Yeah, Mendoza is like the only name up there. Oh, I don't know. In terms of you guys actually just raised a whole lot of things that I'd never thought about. With the Raiders, Geno is Pete Carroll's guy. Geno is only a starting quarterback because of Pete Carroll. I'll never forget. Seattle was like, "Oh, we rolling with Geno," and they was getting clowned. And next thing you know, oh, I ain't right back. And Geno had another few years of relevance. So I actually think the worst thing that can happen to Geno Smith is Pete Carroll being gone. But if they are like, "Oh, trust in Pete," which at least Pete has a resume that he can be like, "Yo, I don't know what happened this season, but we're going to trust in Pete." The same way that, everyone trusting in AG who's done nothing. Nothing. If you want to trust somebody, trust that resume. And then, Geno, might be the guy. But I just think, even in that scenario, you want Geno to be the guy. He's under contract for 3 years. Bring in this boy to learn behind him. If I'm a Raiders fan, I'll be pretty upset. But more for us right? if they don't do it. But in terms of, the reason why I kept this comment up, so because this is exactly how I felt on draft day. I was like, damn, Darnold's going to the Browns. The Giants might get a QB. Like, we might end up with like Josh Rosen. When they picked Baker Mayfield, I almost did a cartwheel. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God. All he has to do is just not get picked up by the Giants. The Giants picked up Saquon. This was the happiest I was on a draft night until 2022. We just ended up not building around him. But it could be the situation, the same thing where, the Raiders feel stronger about one versus the other, and now we get the other. I guess I just need to learn more about more. And I think one thing that definitely concerns me, especially like when we talk about Zach Wilson, I felt like Zach Wilson never was going to work. And of course, I had a strong Sam Darnold bias. Didn't want him to ever leave the team. But like Zach Wilson, he never had the off the field things that would make me say, oh, he can handle like New York media. He can handle losing. Right? A lot of these kids, like they were the star player their whole lives. And now you got to handle seasons of losing, seasons of sucking. You on the New York Post, everybody, they making puns with your name, like, yo, you stink. Like, I can't even think of one right now. Oh, that's Tom Glenn Lotting, right? Like one of these things, they just roasted you with your name. Like, that's tough for a kid. And I always felt like, as bad as it got for Darnold, he would always just come back like nothing happened. Like, seeing ghosts, like, I still don't think that's ever beat him up. They're saying to him now. And yet he's winning 13 games, with all those, legendary QBs that have done it. I feel like he always just reset every week. Oh, I'm back. Like that dude, you ever seen the meme? Like that old dude that walk into class, hello. Like, I feel like that's Darnold. Like, hello, like no matter what happened last week. But Zach Wilson, he would like, I feel like he just was never about it. Like he was never tough enough. His very first interview, they was like, yo, how you been living in New York? He's like, yo, I'm always getting cut off in traffic. I'm like, yo, you don't got no dog. I swear, I know it doesn't sound like it, but like that's a small tell. And then of course, when it did get serious, and when they did start asking him questions like, oh, did you let your defense down? He was like, nah. And now you got this kid crying, in front of the locker room. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Like he was never a fit for the locker room. And I bring that up because I think Fernando and the New York Jets situation fit like a glove. I feel like this is somebody who, if they are losing, he can handle it. This is somebody who already knows now that it's, not just on him. He has the offensive line. He appreciates an offensive line. He appreciates the value of coaching and will be actively seeking it. Everything off the field that you want, I think Fernando has. And that's where I know Dante on the field is almost certainly way better. What he can do, arm angles, arm strength, the mobility, like all those things, Fernando isn't the best at. But, in terms of representing this organization and not wavering if he has a bad season, and just not losing the locker room, I think Fernando is that perfect fit. But I know that was a huge ramble. I'm gonna shut up and just ask this last question about if let's say they only have one QB in mind. It's Fernando or it's Dante. Or Dante doesn't even declare, right? So now it's just the one and the Jets lose out on getting a QB. Shout out to Jets Afterburners podcast. Thanks for watching with us, hanging with us. Are you going with the best defensive player available at number 3, or are you entertaining the idea of trading back to acquire even more draft picks? Abby, hit me with it.
I think this defense is that bad where you need to get the best defensive player. You need a damn playmaker. You need a sauce. You need a sauce that, you need someone there. And so I'm absolutely not entertaining trading back. I think you at that third pick, you stick and pick pretty much, whether Moore decides to come out or not. And like I said, I touched on it earlier, and then I'm like defensive. Then I'm like, I think you can go defensive again with the Indy pick. And then I think maybe you look at like a wide receiver early second round. But no, I think this defense is in need of some serious help, and it's at all levels. It's the D-line, it's the linebackers, it's the entire secondary. They're struggling. We've seen flashes. I want to shout out like Malachi Moore and some of those guys, A.Z. Thomas, before he hit IR too. So there are pieces there, but they're not nowhere near 100% ready at this point. So no, I think you stick with the defensive guy there and get a playmaker.
Yeah, if there's no more, like if there's not that second, like in my opinion, it's just Mendoza and Moore at this point for quarterbacks. If Moore does not declare, I know I just saw the comment, that linebacker from Ohio State, in my opinion, is very well worth taking at 3, 100%, because like not just him, but in my opinion, this is one of the stronger defensive drafts. Like I actually do. There's a couple names that I'm seeing at the top of the draft that I actually think could, they are those, like you said, playmakers, and they are those guys that you're looking at all pro within 3-4 years. That is what I see when I look at that linebacker from Ohio State, the edge rusher from Miami. Like it is a strong defensive draft in my opinion. So if that second quarterback's not there, I think you have to go, my opinion, like you said, linebacker from Ohio State at 3. You use your other picks, and then you have the money to go get a bridge quarterback. That's my thing. I would take the linebacker, and then I would get a quarterback late. Now, I would not, please no, Drew Aller, please. But someone else besides Drew Aller, a different quarterback that can at least be worked with, and then you use some of your money, a bridge quarterback. That's the approach I would take, because I think if Moore does not declare and Mendoza's off the board, it's a little risky to use a third pick on someone like Ty Simpson when I don't think he's deserved that. And it's like you don't want to go in that spot where you waste a pick on a quarterback to someone that's not going to work out. Whereas you can build a good defense now. Like you get these stars on defense now. You draft a rookie late in the draft. You get a bridge quarterback. You see how that team gels together, plays together. And then, hey, if the team doesn't do well, even if they do decent, 7-8 wins, you got 3 first-round picks in 2027 to go get whoever you want. You can get any quarterback in 2027. And in 2027, we're looking at a way bigger draft class. A lot of these guys are coming back for 27. That class is going to be loaded. Like that could be one of, the class we look at with Caleb Williams, all these guys. You could see that again in 27, in my opinion, because it's a lot of the names that just hit the portal that are going to go back for one more year. They're going to a new team. They're playing for that draft pick. You had guys come back. I look at dudes like Sellers. Like I think Sellers could be a good player. DJ Lagway didn't have the best year. I think he could be a good player. Like these are names that we're going to see come in the draft that could be franchise-altering quarterbacks. So I don't think it's crazy to go with a bridge quarterback next year. But if Moore does declare, I think you almost have to go all in, either on Mendoza and Moore. But after that, like you said, we already have the O-line. I wouldn't be too mad about drafting a receiver early on, because I do think there are some solid receivers in this draft. But then every other pick needs to be defense. Because like we said, I don't know what pull Glenn has at this point. So I don't know what guys in free agency Glenn, if we keep Glenn, that Glenn's going to magically pull over. And keep in mind, we don't have a defensive coordinator right now. So if you're a defensive guy, you don't even know what scheme you're coming into right now. So there's just a lot of questions that fall into that. So you would have to build in the draft. So that I think you got to hammer defense in the draft for sure, especially with where we stand.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I start getting goosebumps. You talking about that 2027 QB draft class? I personally, I cannot lie to you. Like I know what I just said about Fernando, and more long term, not married to any coach. I feel like you got to try to get a QB in that draft class. The draft class that they already talking about in that esteem. And you got the 3 first round picks. You have all these different things in place. I would definitely be trying to get somebody then, and by building up the defense now, you're really it's by far the best place a QB has been brought into since Mark Sanchez. Sanchez, it was already a very well built team. He come in, and what did he do? We're talking about AFC championships back to back. So I am thinking that. But if you're Aaron Glenn, you can't just be having like a new QB every year, so that's where, I would imagine that they're hard pressed on trying to get somebody, if it is Mendoza, if it is Moore, or like Kyler, right, is somebody who you would imagine probably has more than 1 year in the tank. Like, they would probably give him, something similar to Fields. But for me, yeah, I would definitely love. I mean, and Kyler can be here or not. I don't care. But yeah, like a bridge, like I think he's probably the best of the bridges. Like someone like Mac Jones, they need to stay out of my face from Mac Jones. They really do. Malik Willis, like that, like it's so funny. Like you just got to play one game on prime time, and now you're the best QB in the NFL. That's crazy. And I know afterburners, yeah, take out the water polo. Come on now. Yeah, this is crazy. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to build up the defense. I'm not gonna lie, like just being like an old school like Jets fan, like I feel like my whole life the Jets have pretty much had the same identity. Great defense, ground and pound, can't throw for shit. Like that's how it's been. Of course, if I would love for that to change, but like to see my Jets defense allow 35 points and a half, like it just disgusts me. It disgusts me. And if Steve Wills can't fix it, AG can't fix it, at least draft premium talent so that if they get fired, the next guy can fix it with the people that are already there. But I can't lie. If we have the 3rd overall pick and like 7 wants to like trade up and like give us a next round pick, like a next year first round pick, I'm not gonna lie, I would jump on that, yeah. I would jump on that, move down like 4 or 5 spots, pick up that safety. My God, what's his name? Caleb? Is it Caleb? Caleb Downs? Or something like that? Oh my God.
The GOAT Caleb Downs?
The GOAT I'm talking about? I would not hesitate. Now you got 4 first round picks. Caleb Downs, and that's one of the few, like, we talk about like how like I knew from Salah, oh, this is what the defense is gonna look like, and he built that with the Jets. I have no idea, like I've never seen anything from Aaron Glenn, but what I have seen is that they use Brian Branch pretty well, and that's a safety and all you can do safety like Caleb Downs. So okay, bring him over. At least I know, like I'm confident, like AG will know what to do with them. So if that does, I'm definitely okay with a trade down, especially if it means you secured a 4th first round pick. And now you truly, it don't like you can have we can win the Super Bowl, right? Have that last pick of the first round, and it still don't matter. We can pick the 1st overall pick if you have 4. So I'm not gonna lie, I've been thinking about that before I go to sleep. Like, if we trade down. But again, I don't think they're going to do that because they're trying to save their jobs. I think they know that they don't have 3 years. I don't think they have 3 years. So
this is just going to be like one of the craziest off seasons I feel like it's like we always thrive during this time of year, but like I feel like there's some big moves coming. Like not only in terms of the Jets, but just the entire. Seeing Jets Afterburner said it. This is going to be a wild off season. Like there's going to be something we don't see coming. You know what I mean? There's always somebody who's available who you don't initially think is available.
Hopefully it's Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think.
I trade my life savings away for him.
I think the big thing that, like, I do feel like it's going to be a wild offseason, but I think the thing that plays into it too is if you go into, like, look at, like, the preseason rankings, right? Like, you look at, like, who was predicted to be good this year. Like, the teams that were supposed to, like, go out and, like, show out kind of underperformed. And when you have stuff like that happen, that's when you start to see a lot of the finger pointing. You might see coach changing. You might see coordinator changes. You might see high-end free agents leave. Like, I look at a team like the Chiefs. Mahomes just went down with a torn ACL. Even with him healthy, they were not going to make the playoffs this year. I'm pretty sure going into next year, they're 20, 30 mil over the cap space. And they have some good talent on that defense, especially. Like, there's a chance that they lose the core of their defense. And there's a chance that, you know, I'm not even thinking just the Chiefs. Like, say the Ravens lose and they lose Harbaugh, right? The Ravens got some stars out there, right? Like, these are teams that were predicted to make the Super Bowl, make the AFC Championship, make a run, and their teams completely underperformed. And when you're known as a winning team and your team completely, you know, underperforms like that, a lot of changes do come the next year. So that's why I don't even think just with our situation, I think there's going to be players available that we're not even, you know, thinking in the blue right now. And I think that's what makes the offseason this year a lot more different than the previous years, is I finally feel like, well, one, we obviously, you know, every year we're in the same boat because we suck. We don't make the playoffs. So it's like, well, how can we get better next year? But I at least feel like this season we have capital, we have money, we have draft picks to actually, like, you know, propel us in the right direction. And that's why I'm hoping that, you know, my predictions with these teams, like, I actually hope that a lot of these dudes, you know, they're not going to lose, like, the Ravens aren't going to lose, like, Kyle Hamilton out of nowhere. But I do think some, you know, some key people that can actually help our defense. Because, like, we had the shittiest defense, right? It's facts. You know, the numbers are out there. I think you could put anyone in there and our defense will be better. That's just my opinion. So I think that, you know, going into this offseason, I think the defense obviously needs a lot of help. But I think the quarterback, honestly, might even be bigger because there is like, we don't know what, you know, I don't even think about Glenn in this situation. I'm thinking about Muji because I actually trust in Muji. I think he actually made some very good moves. And personally, for me, I'm confident in him because I liked his first draft. I liked his in-season trades. He got us that draft capital. So I at least think he knows what he's doing. Like, we don't know what his thinking is right now. There's a chance that, you know, I know they see these headlines. You know, you see Burrow, you know, you start wondering, is that even an option? You see the things about Lamar. I remember Lamar got offered the 2 first. Ravens said no. Like, those might have sounded crazy, you know, 5-6 years ago, but that is the reality we stand in now. You know, draft picks, these coaches and these managers view draft picks a lot more higher than they used to maybe, you know, 10, 15 years ago. Because these dudes are coming out of college game ready. Like, that is what the whole NIL, like, these dudes are coming out ready to change franchises. Like, look at someone like Jeremiah Smith. You can argue Jeremiah Smith could come in right now and change a receiver corps in the matter of that. Like, guys like that they could change teams so fast. And it's like, that is something that gives me hope. But obviously, I know Glenn, if he stays, has a say in the quarterback. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I do think this could be one of the craziest. Like, that's 2 names, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, that if you even brought up trading either of them 2 years ago, someone would look at you like you don't even know football. And it's like, it's not even one or the other. Those both are talking about maybe leaving their teams. Like, there's a world where both of those quarterbacks are not on their teams next year, which is, like, I sound delusional even saying that out loud, but I actually do see a realm where they're not on their teams next year. And I know you got Wudi praying right now. Like, I think any Jet fan, I would give up. You could take all 13 draft picks. Give me either one. That's just the way I feel. I'm being honest.
You know, it's crazy because, you know, you've seen in that chat, you know, we in chats, they're like, what? Injury prone? Like, what? What do you mean? We good. We good with whatever we have. You know, it's disgusting, actually, seeing some of the logic out there. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. They secure one of those names. I'm gonna shut up real quick. All right, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna shut up real quick. Any other final words? You know, during our flight, take flight talk, the live episode. I want to thank everybody My God, we getting the comments flowing through this whole time. This is our first live show. We promoted it very poorly, and still y'all were rocking with us, taking flight with us, talking New York Jets. So I'm eternally grateful. Any last words?
You guys might sway me to come on the fire Aaron Glenn train.
Well, it don't even matter because I know I'm saying all this. I'm getting all the pictures ready of face swapping Aaron Glenn and Osama. But no matter what I say on the internet, he's gonna be back next year. So it is like the cold hard truth. So it's okay. You can stand that. We're the ones that's gonna have to come back to your train soon. All right.
I'm just trying to be like realistic, and I'm like, I just don't think he's going anywhere. I would be shocked if he did. You know what I mean? And I think even Rich Samini kind of was talking about it earlier. He would be shocked too. So
yeah, I think you hit it perfectly. Obviously, like a lot of us Jet fans, the ones who are on the plane, like fire Glenn, get him out. Like we are speaking, pretty emotional right now. Like you have to be realistic about it. I get that. Like we did pay him money. He's clearly Woody's guy. But like also to Jet fans, like the fact that he is Woody's guy, that should make you not want him even more because Woody clearly does not know what he's doing. Like he does not deserve to be an owner of a team. I'm going to keep saying that. So the fact that he trusts in Glenn makes me not want to trust Aaron Glenn. And then Glenn is going out there every week and continuously showing me, do not trust me, do not trust me. So that is why I'm completely on the fire Glenn train. I know he won't get fired because I know the money's there. Until the Jets aren't under Woody Johnson's name, I don't think the decisions I want to happen are going to happen. But if Woody likes me, I would run. No, but it's pretty evident. I don't think Woody Johnson's a good owner, and if the money part wasn't there and all that, I think anyone who knows football would look at this situation and just look at the way the Jets have played. Like we said in one of the comments earlier, it is evident the team quit on Coach Glenn. And that, you take everything else away, talent of the team, all that, when your players quit on your coach, that is not someone you want to bring back. That's just a fact. So that's the one thing I'm going to keep hanging on. The Jets quit on him. It's clear. He lost the locker room. I think there's not much more there.
I feel like if it wasn't Aaron Glenn and it was someone else, like they would be gone. But it's the fact that like the money and his ties to this team. And I think that makes like all the difference. You know what I mean? And it's funny because on Sunday, he was like telling them that they didn't put forth that much effort. And then he walked it back on Monday. It's like, no, bro, you're seeing what we're seeing. They played with no effort. And I get consistently upset because, fans are like, on my videos, I have like my post-game videos. They're like, why are you even getting mad? I'm like, well, you like having our team be shitty every single week? Like, no, I want something to be excited about moving into next year. It's a long off season. And then to have these 4 months where they just look even worse than the year prior, it's truly exhausting. So, and that's what I'm saying. I just get so upset that they're like, why are you even mad? It's like, because I'm just beyond frustrated with this team. Unfortunately, I'm too deep to like jump ship, which I don't blame people who have jumped ship. Congratulations. Like go wherever you need to go. But even then, like my backup team is ass too in the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm just right back in the same position. So it don't matter.
The last thing I'll say is like, because I keep seeing that comment in our group chat with the like it's like you guys all like not us, but like everyone who's talking bad about the tanking crowd was like, I love how Jet fans will say 1 week, let's tank, and then they complain about losing by 30. But it's like that, like, go look at other teams. Like I said, Raiders are up here, okay? They're off the screen. We're not using no Raiders as an example. But you look at other teams that might be tanking, right? Like, you could have argued that the Saints were tanking. You have to be competitive in some aspects of football. Like, just because you not admit, but, like, we know you're tanking, like, you're playing Brady Cook, right? There has to be something as a fan that I could be proud of. Like, you're in a divisional game at home, and Vrabel is out there calling timeout with 6 seconds left in the half. Like, you are getting embarrassed on TV against a divisional opponent who was as bad as you last year. Like, it's not like this is the Tom Brady Patriots. They were dog shit last year. Like, they were us last year. And then now look at them. They just won the division. They have a chance at a Super Bowl run. Like, It can flip like that, but you have to have the coach. You have to have the quarterback. That team, that Patriots team, bought in so fast to Vrabel. Go look at the way he talks to him in the locker room. Go look at the way those players talk to him, like talk about him. Like, you need someone like that. And I want to believe in Glenn. I've wanted to believe in him since day one because I actually did believe in him. I thought he could, change this around. And I know it's so early. I hate to be like critical like that, but we all talked about it. No one really had high expectations going into this year, but somehow Glenn took my shitty expectations and just dropped them. Like, he pushed them even lower. Like, I knew we were going to be bad. Don't get me wrong. I was maybe thinking 5-6 wins, right? But I wasn't thinking worst point differential in December. I wasn't thinking 0 interceptions in a full year. This is the 5th year, I think, or 5th quarterback in the last 6 that we haven't had a quarterback throw for 10 passing touchdowns. Like, that is disgusting. I can almost puke right now thinking about that. Like, are we serious? Like 10 passing touchdowns in a year. Like, that should not. Like, I made a video about this when Breece Hall tweeted about the Bears in the 49ers game where he was like, they're just making offense look easy out there, like Ben Johnson and Shanahan. I was like, why is it the Jets make offense seem like it's some like foreign language? Like, we make it seem like running an offense is the hardest thing in the world. Like, a quarterback to have, the last quarterback I enjoyed was Ryan Fitzpatrick because he was just out there slinging it. Like, Brandon Marshall, like 2015, like, if I could go back to 2015 now, I would do that in a heartbeat. I know we choked at the end, but that year, that was amazing. Like, that was football. We were competitive until the end. In Jet fashion, we choked. I get it. But you watch these last 10 years, I'm like, we are watching horrible quarterback play, horrible offense. Now, yeah, we had the top 3 defense, like you said, like Jet football, top defense. But what do we have this year? At least Saleh gave us a defense to be proud of. Like, I'm proud of my special teams. My friends ask me about the Jets. I have to talk about my kick returner. They don't even know his name.
And yeah, I mean, they gave us that Browns game. There's no way we winning without Kanye and Isaiah. Like, damn, I can't lie. Like, cause you guys both hit the nail on the head. So, just hit on the head. Abby, I didn't mean to laugh. You was talking about the Cardinals, but that's how I felt. I think that's why, because I'm like, damn, like the Mets, they got rid of every single player. Like the Jets, like, what are they doing? Like, if it wasn't for the Knicks, I don't even know like how I'd be getting out of bed.
Same here. I mean, at least because even the Suns came in, like, people had very low expectations for the Phoenix Suns. And hey, here we are. Like, we on the up and up. Okay, make it fun. You know what I mean? And then, of course, I got the Arizona Wildcats sitting at number 1. And I'm going to the Holiday Bowl to watch U of A football. So hopefully they top off their season with, like, a win. But I've never been more checked out. Like, usually, like, it's bad when I don't even have a rant. I haven't had a rant the last 2 weeks. There's nothing to really say.
For real.
And I'm tired of who is going to be the quarterback being like the hot topic of every single week. Like, we're just waiting till Wednesday to see who it's going to be. I could care less who it's going to be. I'm so tired of this carousel of QBs. It's like I said it before, it's exhausting. It's truly just exhausting. But yeah, no, you're in basketball mode. I'm in basketball mode. I'm in college football still. It's like you can literally do anything during a New York Jets game. But the one thing I will say about the Cardinals is at least McBride has been a bright spot on their team. Like, broke a record this past week. You know what I mean? And I'm sure like Breece was the bright spot, I guess for the Jets, although Wudi, I think you have Breece for fantasy like I do. Of course, this week he does a little something compared to like the 3 points I normally get every other week.
Hey! Come on now! You went off against the Bengals. Threw it to you.
And then I kept him in one time, and that's when Tony Pollard decides, I'm going to score 27 points.
Oh my! Yes. Shout out to the World Cup. Apparently also active. It's just definitely for, and like even like because the Knicks obviously have been terrible for a long time. But like you had your oh my god, Dana, he's trying to get the show to go on for another 55 minutes. But like the Knicks, like they were bad, but you had the Melo, like oh no, they still stink. Like the Julius Randle, they still stink. And what I mean by that, by naming those players, they made it to the playoffs, right? And it's like, oh, okay, well they got immediately bounced, but okay, like we watching extra games. The Jets, we not watching no extra games. And to your point, like the season's over November, October every year, like, and that's where I feel like I'm a combination of both of you. What you said, like Abby, the frustration being like broken down. Like I was broken by the last season, the highs, and then they fired Salah 5 games into the season. I'll never forget that day. I'll literally never. I had to call out of work like they fired my coach. I have no idea what my life is like today. Mykal, to your point of like using that now to rationalize, like, can Glenn be the guy to pull us out of this? There's nothing to see that would make me say yes. There's nothing, literally nothing. And that's what killed, because it's like, damn, how much longer is this gonna go? My son is 4. And he stopped watching the Jets this season. He was like, oh, like I'll be, like he'll hear like, oh, Brees Hall run, and he'll be like, they losing again by how much? Like he's 4, like what I'm saying, like, damn, it's a rough life that we live.
Well, and I just think about, we talked about when he came to the Jets and that initial press conference, and you brought all of that energy. And I feel like we saw it at the beginning of the year, and then now it's like completely lost. And he's lost the locker room at this point. But I kind of won't forgive when I forgot what game it was where we didn't run that first 2-minute drill. And he just said he was trying to keep the ball away. I think it was at Denver. He's like, I was just trying to keep the ball away from Denver, or whoever team it was. And I'm like, who plays football that way? Who does anything in life that way?
It's such a Jets thing. Like that. That's literally how I feel. I think it was the Broncos game, but that game was disgusting. And at least, even though we lost those games, like at least the beginning of the year, it was like a motivation thing where it's like, okay, we're at least hanging with teams, right? Like besides that Bills game, Tyrod gave us a game with the Bucks. Like, we should have beat the Steelers. We were hanging around in games, but it's like that was the thing that like it wasn't even a thought in my head. Like my thought going into the year, especially after those first couple games, was like, all right, I'm gonna break the season into 2, and I'm gonna be a lot happier with the second half because I know Glenn's gonna hold the team accountable. He preaches that penalties are gonna be down. We're gonna see sparks, maybe some guys to bring in next year. But like it's actually the opposite, where I was more excited from like week 1 through 11 than I am these last 7-8 weeks, because like Wudi was saying, there's nothing that I'm seeing with my eyes where it's like Glenn could somehow change this around, because he did choose his coaching staff at the end of the day too. And from what I'm watching, I don't even know, like maybe besides your O-line coach, I don't know what coach you bring back. Like you damn near need to wipe the whole slate again. Like I know we have practice squad players out there at DB, but I mean the linebacker coach has to be not even coaching out there. Like, I don't know if that was you took Wilkes out and Quincy and Sherwood can't guard anymore. Like, it wasn't the coordinator. So I don't know what made Sherwood and Quincy Williams be horrible in coverage all of a sudden. But there's a disconnect on the defense side of the ball. Offensively, I think you can maybe run it back. Maybe just get a new quarterback coach. That's all I want. That's my only ask on offense. Definitely. Get a new quarterback coach. I think Tanner's the guy. I think Jet fans are delusional, trying to act like he's the problem when you had a carousel of bummy quarterbacks. Like, there's no other way to put it. Bummy quarterbacks back there. Like, no offensive coordinator can make that work. So, no reason he deserves to get discredited. But defensively, there's a lot that needs to change between the players, the personnel. So, I'm the youngest of us all, right? Like, I haven't been through this as much as you guys. So, I don't have as much to say. But, for the years I've experienced, I've been through some lows. Like this one, especially with what I'm going through with the Mets, this one hits like harder because I don't even know what like. I'm trying to think, like, what am I looking forward to with the Jets offseason and the Mets? And it's like, I don't even know what direction the Mets are going. And it's like, the direction I think the Jets are going, it seems like they're just going to like backdoor me and go the other way or something. Like, I don't see a vision. I don't see a plan. And it's like, why do both my teams have to have that at the same exact moment? Like, the Mets were 2 games away from the World Series, and the Jets were the 4th highest odds to make the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Like, literally 2 years ago, I had a chance. My 2 teams were right there, and now we're both back in the shit bowl. Like, how does that happen? That doesn't happen to anyone else.
No, that's what makes it the most painful. Like, for real. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, because I thought I was good. I literally thought I was good. Watching that Dodgers series, like, yeah, they lost, but it was like, yo, we're going to come back. Like, it was about to be fire. Like, Rogers, it was about to come. And just, yeah, now we are back bottom of the barrel. Mets, yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
The Marlins are going to be better. The Marlins right now, I would say, are better than the Mets. Like, that. Yeah. Why? Like, that should not be a thing. Like, Steve Cohen's building a casino more than he cares about the team.
It's not good. It's really not good. Like, I don't say Jalen Brunson, like, bro.
They need to build a Jalen Brunson statue for keeping New Yorkers, like, sane. Like,
for
he's
real.
The only thing keeping people who support New York sports, like, mentally there, because this is ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I owe him everything right now. But I know we went over. I said we got one more thing, and then it really became like, I feel like we owe each other a copay right now with the mental health, services that we just provided for each other. Shout out to everybody. I can't believe, like, the chat just really blew up for real. So I apologize. We were heading out. But shout out to everybody, Johnny Boy, nothing but love, Sharon, Jets Worldwide. The Danger Zone. I'll be on the Danger Zone this Friday night. So if you want to, hear me say things once I get drunk live on the Danger Zone, that does definitely happen this Friday. For everybody,
you're a busy man this week.
Yo, hey, I got a lot to say. Like, I feel like I've been quiet. I've been quiet, but now I gotta let people know what's going on, and I don't think it's right. I need this drought to end, like, because football is my favorite sport to watch. Like, so we just talked about all the different New York teams and all that type of stuff. Like, Abby, your different teams. Football is my favorite sport to watch. So it actually, like, physically pains me when I'm watching all these primetime games. Like what Bree said, like, offense isn't that hard. But my team, for so long, that 10 touchdown stat is disgusting. Like, look, that only happens to, like, 2 teams a year, right? And it's, like, the one team, and then, like, it doesn't happen to them for another decade. Like, another team doesn't happen to them. But the other team is the Jets every year. Like, there's so many things that just make it embarrassing to even root for this team. So everyone in the comments, you are strong. Like, you are tough. That, like, for real. These 2 people that I'm talking to right now, you are tough. You are strong. Okay, I be saying that to myself in the mirror, like, when I go to the grocery store wearing this hat, like, yo, man, you tough. You are strong, because this team absolutely stinks. Unfortunately, like, looking forward, I don't see, the end. But let's see if Lamar, like you said, right? There's so many possibilities. But one thing that is for certain is that I had a blast taking flight with you guys, and it seems like there are some people right here that want to tune in if we go live. So we might have to start thinking about something. We might have to start cooking up a regular schedule. You know what I'm talking about? Because I've been loving the engagement from start to finish. Come on now, we gotta take flight, and I just appreciate all you guys. Matter of fact, the energy is flying. So let me keep the energy going real quick.
Take flight.
injected to my veins. That's all I gotta say. Come on now. Appreciate you guys so much. I will actually do this at the risk of delaying the episode for another 45 minutes. I will ask one more time if you guys have final words.
Nah, you hit it all. I mean, I was out here jamming to the video. I'm not gonna lie. That's all I got, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, then, until next time that we take flight, we'll see you guys. And we're sorry that the Jets stink.
Bye, you guys. We're here with you.